If you were an animal, what would you be?
Oh, no. If I was an animal. So, hello and welcome to Inside C&A Digital, the podcast. I am so excited to have you here. I'm Elena Rivera-Cheek, the founder and CEO, and I am joined today by three beautiful interns at C&A Digital. We put it up. We have a two-part series. We had so many interns volunteer that we're going to make this a series. So it is my absolute pleasure to introduce Cheryl Zhang, Johanna Mejia, and Kaitlyn Hu. As you all answer your first question, just say who you are because we have so many guests today. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. We're going to have fun today.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, cool. So I want you to start, Johanna, why don't you start telling me and our audience a little bit about yourself and your background and what departments are you kind of working in here at C&A Digital?
Yeah, of course. So I'm currently a rising senior at Iona University. I've lived here in New York my whole life, New Rochelle, so I do commute. I am a marketing major with an intended minor in entrepreneurship, and some of the departments I'm currently involved in is marketing and client experience.
How do you like it?
I love it.
Yeah? What's your favorite if you had to pick?
Marketing, for sure.
All right. Yes, client experience is a tough gig, but awesome and welcome.
Thank you.
I'm Cheryl. I'm currently a rising junior at the University of Southern California studying business administration. And I'm also from New York. And here at C&A, I'm involved in also the marketing and client experience departments.
And what's your favorite so far?
I'd have to say I like the client experience more. It is a little bit more challenging in some ways, but I enjoy some of the projects we've been working on so far.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm Kaitlyn. I go to the University of Massachusetts Amherst. I'm going to be a sophomore in the fall, and I'm majoring in managerial economics and psychology with a minor in business. And here at C&A, I'm currently involved in the marketing and client experience departments. And I would say I probably lean towards the marketing side just because I like the creative aspect of it.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm so happy to have you guys here. Tell me, when you were thinking about an internship, what were your initial expectations coming in, and how does actually being here compare with what you thought it might be? Why don't you start, Kaitlyn?
Yeah, so prior to coming here, I had no internship experience, so this was my first internship. So I think I just expected this to kind of just gain practical experience, I expected this to be a very individual, environment. I wouldn't have expected to work with other people. I just thought that we would have been given tasks and then been given our own time to work on those, and then that would have been it. But in reality, I think this is definitely a collaborative environment. I think we would all agree as interns, a big part of C&A Digital is this atmosphere that keeps us going. And I think it's just such an interactive environment in general. So that was definitely something I wasn't expecting coming here, and that was a great surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Kaitlyn said. Coming in, I didn't really know what to expect. I was hoping to get some professional experience under my belt and just learn more about marketing. And then being here, I think I've definitely learned so much about marketing, about what else C&A does, and I think just overall the ability to be able to explore all my interests here has been great for my career exploration and development.
Yeah, I think I can speak for most of us. We thought it would be more of a strict environment where you're confined to your cubicle and whatnot. But upon doing research, I was seeing the social media, and I saw it's a very family-oriented, collaborative team. So I really enjoyed that, and you guys have definitely exceeded my expectations.
That's awesome. I think certainly the interns know, because I try to make it a point to meet with you and kind of tell the story. But in my case, it was an internship experience that completely changed the entire trajectory of my life in terms of career. And as I mentioned in kind of the pre-show time, had an internship head, Jen Brady, love you, Jen, not seen me and given me constructive feedback in terms of where I was actually strong and where I might actually want to pursue a career, I might have gone a different way. And if she hadn't called a friend, and if that friend, Lynn Collins, love you too, Lynn, hadn't walked me through my first ad agency in New York City, I wouldn't see the environment and know that that was where I wanted to be. So I want to talk to you a little bit about, before we get into like, what do we feel the younger generations kind of bring to a place like this? I want you to tell me a little bit about how being live and in the office might be teaching you something that it's possible Zoom couldn't. So why don't you start?
Yeah, so I think it makes all the difference. I remember being online during COVID, and it was hard for me to kind of interact with people. You're only seeing like the top half of a person. You can't really gain like really who they are, see their body expression. So I think as far as how we're here in the office, it's huge. It makes all the difference, like I said, because you have this interaction. We talk, I know like each morning we come in and we sit in the kitchen, and I feel like we have like morning debriefs almost, like about what we did this weekend, what our upcoming plans are. And it just makes this kind of work environment feel like home in a sense. And it's something I look forward to, I think.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I think that same thing, like during COVID, being home so much and being on Zoom, I really wanted to get more in-person experiences, and I'm really grateful I was able to come into the office here and be able to meet everyone, talk to different people, and collaborate in that way, because I do feel like it's so different, like working in an office and just being able to see people go around and talk to everyone. I think having that ability to interact so easily is something I really enjoy.
Yeah, I know for me during my experience for COVID, I was just, confined to my room. I feel like when you've been in that way for a while, like you can get into your own head. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like interacting with other interns and even just, years apart from that, from COVID, it's definitely been a great experience to have that.
Yeah, sometimes I'll tell you guys that I'll be interested to see the data around young people in your position who choose a fully virtual experience for their career versus an in-office experience, and if you can just extrapolate the data across and like where their career goes. I'm sure that research is being done, but there is a subset of people who don't want to step foot in an office if they don't have to. So obviously you guys are not one, but that brings me to my next question. If you had to tell the audience what some of the strengths you believe younger generations bring into an office like C&A or any other, what would you say the strengths you bring to this office include?
That's a great question. I think that one thing that interns bring to a workforce in general is just like new ideas, new perspectives, and kind of new energy, especially with like new technologies. Like we grew up with a lot of technologies and we're super excited about emerging technologies. We're the first ones to adopt those. Mm-hmm. So we kind of bring that energy to workforces with like AI, social media. We just have so much experience and energy with that we want to share with the rest of the workforce.
Yeah, and to add on to what you said, it's definitely a new perspective, especially with the new curriculum that they teach, at least in my school, with integrating AI into mm-hmm. everything. I feel like that's definitely something we can contribute to C&A.
No,
I definitely agree with both of them. But one thing that I think interns in general tend to bring is this adaptability, especially in terms of how society is evolving so rapidly, because I know you had talked about this with AI, for example. If you don't learn how to use it, then you're going to fall behind, because there's going to be people that know how to use it to your advantage, and you have to know how to use it, and then also what the limitations are also of it are. And I think that's huge, because we need to know how that's going to help us or hurt us in the future. And then also, in addition to that, I think interns growing up with social media, we're able to kind of see what the different trends are, so we're able to reach a different audience. And
Great.
Not just a different audience, I guess, but also a broader audience in general.
Yeah, I think, from my perspective, the energy you guys bring and the excitement. It's like palpable. You can feel it when you guys are in the kitchen. I was heating up my lunch today and you guys were all jamming about something. And it's so beautiful to see because it's like, so I don't know, I wasn't listening really, but it was high energy. And I think that's certainly what we've seen from this class of interns, which is by far our largest class. I'm going to ask a question that's actually not here. What do you feel like the benefit of the other interns? Like, Johanna, what would you say? Because like I see you guys together and I just think like I hope you'll be friends forever. But what would you say are some of the unexpected benefits you've had, like the relationships you've built?
Of course, networking is definitely one. I would say another benefit would be just outside of work too, like learning how to navigate when I actually have a 9 to 5 and then outside of work, how to balance that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really been, not tough in a way, but it's definitely been different for me.
Different. Learning.
Yeah,
which is good.
Yeah, I think having the other interns here, one unexpected, I guess, thing that I've found really helpful is like getting to know, because we all go to different schools, what they have learned in their different schools and their different experiences there, because obviously we learn different things, we can share different things with each other, and it's just nice to be able to collaborate with people who have different experiences.
Coming into this internship, I definitely wasn't thinking that I would get so close with these interns as I did. But like Cheryl said, I definitely think it's learning about other people's perspectives and the difference between what school's going to, like what that makes. And I also think it's the balance between inside of work and outside of work, and just having that chance to bond with these interns. It makes the internship more enjoyable.
Yeah, so I think if you were speaking to, let's say, someone at your school who either wasn't going to opt for an internship or was opting for, let's say, an internship that wasn't in-house for whatever reason, what would you tell them about why they should consider it based on what you've learned here? I'm thinking in terms of like what's translatable into your future career, right? Like what would you say?
I think one skill that I've definitely taken away from this experience, being in person and working with other interns, is definitely time management and being able to both balance the social times with other interns and then also meetings with other employees here, balancing different timelines, priorities, and making sure the work that we get done is done to the best of our ability. Just being able to manage all those different pieces is really a great skill in terms of time management.
Yeah, I would say another transferable skill from the internship is learning how to collaborate. I know there's many different perspectives when you're working on a project, and just seeing how taking that into consideration, all the great ideas, and then making the work seamlessly come together is definitely a skill.
I think it's definitely knowing how to advocate for yourself. I know you had said in the past that you have to be able to defend your work. And I think that's huge, because if you're not passionate about something, then you can't make the people that you're presenting to also passionate about it if you don't have that enthusiasm. And then also, like Johanna said, I think it's collaboration also, because in my past, I feel like I haven't always had the best experience with working in groups, I'd say, because some people take the lead and then some people tend to sit back. So I feel like in that sense, it might not be fair. But I think here at C&A Digital, I really learned that the people that you're working with, you're one team, and after all, you're working towards the same goal. And I think you want what's best for you as a person, but also C&A. So collaboration is definitely something that's huge in the future, because knowing how to work with people and how to use that to your advantage is huge.
Absolutely. Those are skills that you can only learn by doing, right? And this is not textbook smarts. This is not what you'll read in an organizational management textbook or online. This is really like different people coming together, one common goal. And I have to say, I didn't have a big part in scripting this episode because the interns took the lead here, as they do here. And I think they might be flipping the script on me. I do hear that questions might be coming my way from them. So this is completely new. We've never done this. I'm super excited, a little nervous. Who wants to start?
Yeah, so we actually did want to change the narrative a little. And so one of the questions that we wanted to ask you is, how can listeners watching this right now incorporate interns into their own workplace?
Yeah, I think it needs to start foundationally from a mindset of wanting to serve as much as you want to gain, right? Because some people do it as a check the box exercise. There's a lot of heart behind our program. So that is certainly not the way that we craft this program. But I think understanding that, you know, your company could benefit, and there's a lot of research and data around, like, get strong interns, teach them when they're thinking about where to go after they graduate. If you gave them a good experience, there's a chance that they'll come work for you. And in our case at C&A, we've had a number of interns come and work for us. We've had a bunch of them go and work at global organizations afterward and other great companies. And so, you know, even though it's hard to let them, you know, say goodbye, you're also so proud. I'm so proud of every intern that's come through here, and every time that we have, like, because we have a piece of your story now. And so that's really, really exciting for us. And I think, so deciding that it's important, and then just looking at your organization and maybe asking yourself, where could we benefit from some fresh thinking, some new thinking, right? Because companies tend to do things the same way over and over. So, yeah, I think a little intentionality and maybe looking at an area of the business that might need some fresh thinking.
Yeah. And before I ask my question, to add on to that, I definitely think it's also a good marketing tactic having interns, because they in their own way will market your company. I know for me, you know, my family members, friends, they have asked me about the company that I'm working for, and I always speak great things about it. So
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
So my question would be, what do you think interns contribute to, like, the culture of C&A?
Yeah, I think the energy with you all in the office is extraordinary. I think you are all really, really bright and committed. Whoever you go to work for later, they owe me I'm going to say you're welcome, because they're getting great talent. And I mean, we're not done yet, but I'm so proud of all of you. And many of you will take an opportunity to come in my office and talk to me one-on-one about your goals or your questions. I love that. The skills here are going to ensure, and I can already see, like, you guys are future leaders. And so I would say, you know, of course you bring energy. Of course you bring insights in terms of learning. You're very close to certain new technologies. But I think it's also like you provide a foundation for the future. And like what I'm going to ask you, just, you know, spoiler alert, right before you leave, is that you never forget this. And when you're in a position of power, to hire or to support youth in your career, that you're going to do that. And you're not going to forget that it's going to take you opening the door behind you, right? And because you're all going to be really successful. I already know that. I can see it. And so just that you never forget to look back, to look down, and to help people up. So, I mean, I think it's a lot of things, but I'm really happy you guys are here.
That's great to hear. So I have one last question before we actually have a collective question for you. But my question for you would be, where do you see the future of C&A's internship going in the next couple years or so?
Oh, that's a tough one, because we have had exponential growth with this class. So I think, where do I see it going? I see us conducting a lot of meetings to figure out what went right. We're going to, at the end, we'll ask you for your feedback. You're going to be honest. You're going to tell us what was great, what could have what needed improvement. We want to learn from every experience. So I think, we'll learn kind of what went well, and our goal is always the same here. Every day we want to add more value than we added yesterday, right? Like, we want to get better. This is an environment of continuous improvement. You've seen that, right? And so even if it's a 2% improvement, it's like, how can we get better and serve you guys more? Well, that's going to mean that we listen to you, right? So I think improvement is going to be the name of the game. To the extent that we can expand, that would be great. We just launched C&A Health. So like, how do we integrate the health division into the internship program. And I think, and maybe one of the things that would be really interesting, and I was talking to one of my clients who actually has an intern at UMass Amherst as well, and she was like, "Hey, I want her to come into C&A," and it made me think, a great idea, that maybe thinking about how can we cross partnership. So like I have a lot of friends in the business community and in the corporate world. Like how can we do a day of like, maybe we go visit some of our clients, maybe you spend a day there. Like, so maybe some greater integration would be just something that I've been thinking about.
Yeah, that sounds like such a fun trip if we were able to go visit other companies and see what their interns are up to. So for our final question, we came up with this question together. We put a lot of thought into it, spent a lot of time crafting it. And the question is, if you were an animal, what would you be?
Oh, no. If I was an animal. So who would I really be, or who would I want to be? Because those are two very different animals. I think I would be a lion, but I'd want to be a sloth. I don't know. They're so cute, but they're really slow. So I love that question. I love that question.
Yeah, love both lions and sloths.
Yes. So with that, I have to thank our audience for joining us. I have to say you're welcome to their future employers. I want to encourage you guys to continue doing what you're doing here. And I want to continue to kind of implore our audience to get interns through your doors, listen to them, give them an opportunity, try to see if you can build a program. And if you have any questions, certainly reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. We have so many interns that we have to do a part 2. So I will see you on part 2. Thank you so much for joining us on Inside C&A Digital, the podcast. Until next time.